Hello. It is Wednesday, and this is my first What's Up post for December. I'm going to flick my light on now and see how that pans out for this video. In fact, I'm going to shut my door as well because I can hear my husband from here. Does anyone else have a husband or males in the house that like to talk on speakerphone on their phone all the time? I do. Anyway, I haven't done any preparation here, but I was just kind of thinking, what can I show you that's not layouts? I've got a bit of a lag month here because I haven't really got a feature paper for December because I'm holding them over till January, and I've shown you a lot of Christmas stuff already. So I was sort of thinking, what's a good thing to show during December? I could show you some of the tools that I use in preparation and organisation. I know a lot of you are pretty well organised, but I thought, what can I show you that's a little bit different that you might not have seen? And I've shown a lot of things that are to do with digital. If you're in my image control for crafters, then there is a load of resource in there, albeit that iOS 18, if you're on an iPhone, changes the look and feel of the Photos app a little bit. And I'll have some updates for that on you soon. If you've got my newsletter that came out yesterday, then you'll know that. But I thought I'm actually looking for some feedback or interaction with all of you here. So if you watch this, please do comment on the video on the sorts of things that you do in organising your pre-printed photos or once you print a batch of photos. I thought this might also help those that are going to participate in the Head Start 2025 challenge that is going to start in January, because you might like to spend some time in December getting ready. I'm just going to show you a bunch of, they're not really random, they are related. I don't go to this as often anymore, but I still do come to this because I have pre-printed photos. I have organised them previously, but now for anything more recent, then I print them as I go, but not everyone does this. Okay, so where am I going with this? So this little system here came about from Stacey Julian being a part of her, oh my goodness, Live Your Story. Actually, it was before the membership. Photo freedom is the words I'm looking for. Learned about this, so this whole process here, she taught in photo freedom, and I did that during COVID actually. It was a really good thing. So, and you may not want to do all of this, but I guess I wanted to show it to you so that you can look at what elements might be useful to you. Okay, so the first one is, I guess the question I'm asking you and looking for some feedback because I'm just curious, how do you actually store your printed photos? Photos that you've got ready to do some scrapbooking with. And what do you do once you've got them sort of sorted? Are you always just working on a bunch of related photos? Or do you like to randomly pick photos from different time frames and events and timelines because they go with a paper pack? One thing I would really encourage you to do is, I do find, and I know this comes from a place of being a demonstrator or previously a maker with close to my heart, but what I do find is working with one paper pack at once and having photos that maybe it's all the same photos, or sorry, all photos of the same event, but sometimes it might be events from different times and places. When you're working with the one paper pack and try and use it all up, number one, it feels better and even more satisfying than just completing the pages. Number two, you get in the zone of the feel and look and colours that are in that. And also you can use all of that cardstock, the offcuts that goes with it, use it all up at once and then put it away, or hopefully it's used up enough that you actually get rid of it or put it away for good. Whereas if you just use a little bit of one paper pack and then a little bit of another, and you're constantly changing every time you go to do a new layout, it's like, what photos will I use? What paper will I use? What embellishments will I use? Whereas if you work with one paper pack with a bunch of photos, you can go, right, what's all the things that goes with this? I'll get it all out. I'll use it for a period of time, get all those photos done, and then it's like, great, that paper pack is finished. Anyway, that's how my brain works, and I find it's a lot more productive because I find that changeover from different colours, different themes, and all the tools that go with it can be quite time consuming and saps your energy too. So what I do with my photos is there's a couple of different things that you can do. Some of you may have these, there was I don't even remember, it was a storage organizer, and I do use these for all sorts of things, like storing my blending brushes in them. I also store my photo mats in them. What else have I got in them? I've got all sorts of things around me here, which I can't lay my hands on. Sometimes I've got a lot of Cricut cuts in them, but they are the size for photos. Oh, there's another one, foam tape. The foam tape for taking that. And I've got another one somewhere in my bag. Can't see it right now. Sometimes when I'm going away and I've got printed photos, then I'll just put them in this, and I'll just separate them in some shape or form, even if it's just like top and tail. One set of photos for a layout up one way, one set up the other. I might sometimes put a post-it note in there. I don't want to put paper in these sorts of any form of storage for your photos. You don't really want to be putting just regular reflex paper. It's not photo safe. I know some of you are very cautious about that. Some of you just need to be aware that if you're storing post-it notes and things for a long period of time, it can damage your photos. But that is one way of storing your photos ready for production of layouts. Polypropylene bags are a really safe way. They are photo safe. So what I was using before I came across Photo Freedom was polypropylene bags. So I would put a bunch of photos that were a layout or at least an event all together in a bag. And then what I started using with Photo Freedom, I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. I might grab a piece of cardboard here. It might help to show it up. So these sort of really the old-fashioned sliding sleeves. What I like about them is they're 5x7, because then if you have, let me see if I've got enlargement. So this pack here, and I have cut them in half. Sometimes I store them together because it's not about putting them in a folder, although you can. What Stacey teaches, she talks about, oh my goodness, the words aren't going to come with me today. Photo storage, they're your storage albums. So I tend to, though, just put them in these. I have got some storage albums, but I tend to just grab the ones that I want, and they sit at my desk so that they're the ones that I'm using. But you could put enough for a layout in here, enough for a layout in here. You could flip them over and put them on the back as well. What I started doing in the end, because I found sometimes then they weren't related, I wanted to take some and not the others. It wasn't so much for me about storing them in an album. I just like the fact that I could put 5x7s together with all different sorts of size photos together. And for example, that I knew was my Caden's motorbike photos. Okay, so I'll show you a couple more examples. I might leave that there. For example, let's have a look. I know I've got some Halloween ones in here. I've got some Christmas ones in here. I've got some dentist ones. So here's a good example. So when you're curating stories or photos from over a period of time, maybe you've got some taken a couple of years ago and some taken now, and some you've got an event coming up. This is called dentist or teeth, and I've got a whole bunch of stories in here that I'm going to tell, because I got to the point where I was like, oh my goodness, they've lost another tooth, they've lost another tooth, they've lost another tooth. And it was like, I don't really want to do a double page spread or even a single every time that happens. So I'm bunching it all together to do sort of, I haven't exactly decided what, but probably just a double page spread, or it could be, if it's an involved story, it could be an extended story. But by keeping them all like this, you'll see my basket over here in a minute, it means that I can be adding to it over time. But I'm going to take that cardboard away now. The whole idea of having them like this, at least in individual baskets, is if I go to an all-day crop, if I go away for a weekend, or I get a new paper pack, I can go, oh, this paper pack is really bright, or this paper pack has lots of greens and navies. This paper pack is all about birthdays. So I can go through here and go, oh, that's going to go the brown paper pack. So Nature's Sweetness, for example. Oh, that went with my mango photos. I'm not ready to work on that. Oh, this is a really good paper. We've got some paper coming up in the January January to April that is really great for younger children, toddlers, babies. So I could grab those out. So I will periodically go through my pile, whether it's my pile at my desk or my pile of my baskets, and I'll grab out the things that go with a paper pack. They may or may not get scrapbooked. And then if I don't scrapbook them and I think I'm not going to use them with that paper, then I'll put them away and I can get them out again. So I do find these useful for that. I will show you, where's it, one here. So this is quite a full one. I have kept this together. This is my remember when pile. This is pre me having my own printer, and I have been collecting and continue to collect a lot of photos from a Facebook group, which is sort of growing up in the 70s and 80s. So I have done a couple of layouts from these packs already. So it's probably been when I think one was a set when I had some COVID papers, and it had a little TV screen, and that went with these, because I did all TV shows from the 70s and 80s and my memory of them. I've done another one about lollies and treats from the 70s and 80s, and they were all in here. And again, that was about having some brightly coloured paper. So I do find them useful like this. They're easy to just store together and transport and grab out when I need them. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. Where this basket comes in, and hopefully, have a look, I'm going to get up on my stool. And again, these are just ideas of ways you can do things. So this is just a fridge storage basket. It's just something that's wide enough to store those sleeves in. And its intention is to create some categories that you will store and curate your photos in. Now, it could even just be, here's the latest travel or holiday I've had, and here's all of them together behind that. But these are probably things across time, so the categories that you have can be anything you want them to be, but I've got one for personality, for example. And so I had little slips of paper clipped to that, and so behind the personality one, there was Caden with his tools and gardening when he was younger. There was Zoe and food. Zoe being a climber when she was a child. And some of these have been done. I've got sleep. So these are stories about their personality. What else have I got here? I have got moments. So I've got a couple of things here. I've got photos that were taken by my husband when I'm away for the weekend. So things that they do, they're sort of random bits and pieces. I've got an everyday life section. So this is where those teeth one came from. I've got one collating mess, again, some random photos taken at different times of messes that my kids have made, even just more recently. I've got one called Ouch, which I've been dying to do. I need a good weekend away, uninterrupted, to do that one. So it's photos of rolled ankles. I had Zoe with a burn on her leg, John with a broken wrist, John with when his back operations. So I've curated the photos over time and keeping them together. So there's the mess one. Haven't done that one yet. This one's called Fun Stuff. Now, again, these are just categories that I've come up with. Sometimes I put all the photos together and then I go, where does that come under? What do I want to categorize it under? The categories aren't that important, but sometimes it helps you to just put them together. I've got now, not Zoe, Stacey Julian talks about 4 categories: people, places, us, and things. So I've got a things category. So what have I got in things? Let me go back to my little slip. So things, I've got one about technology, one about food, one about motorbike, one about weather. So they're not so much an event in time, but they're about things. Obviously there's people in them, but they are things. This one here was mine. So I've got child of the 70s, colour, my craft room. So you will personalise these yourself. You can have whatever categories you like. I've got tradition and history. And then I've got relationships. And what have I got here? Location. What have I got under location? I've got moving and the comforts of home. So I had a couple of photos and comforts at home. I haven't curated that totally. And then I had a school one at the back. So you can put, again, the idea of this is just being able to have them not stored by date, which is the way that I used to store them when I used to scrapbook chronologically, but have them very easily accessible in a container, so that when I decide to work on either a project or a pack of paper or a suite of colours, I can then look through and go, oh, which photo sets in here are bright, which photo sets in here are more neutral, which photo sets in here are a certain theme, and then I can pull them out and I keep them at my desk. This goes back away and I just keep the ones. I actually need to sort through these again, pop a few back away, and then work out what are the next couple of packs of paper that I'm working with, and I get the photos out and keep them with them. So I don't know if that's useful for you. I hope it has been. Tell me what has been useful for you. Tell me, this is all about workflow. How do you get from a printed photo, let's forget about how it gets to printed, from your organised printed photos, do you store them in a power sort box, which is the old Creative Memories way, a shoebox or some sort of organiser? How do you decide what you're going to work on at an all-day crop, at a workshop? How do you get from a set of photos that are organised for an event to deciding what you're working on in the next month or year? Okay. And if you're just working chronologically, then just tell me that too. I'm just curious to know if people, I find I've really evolved over the years. It used to be very much chronological and now it's very much not. That doesn't mean that my pages don't go back into an album that's chronological. They're divided up to who the album is for, and then I somewhat put them chronological. They're not perfectly chronological. I used to worry about that, but it's like, yep, that looks like that was before that, or oh, I know that one was before that one. But if it's not quite right, no one's going to know, are they? Okay. Give me your comments and your feedback. Tell me if this was at all useful. I hope, and if you've got questions or you've got some suggestions for what I can do for some other WhatsApp over the next couple of weeks, whether it be to do with tools, whether it be a how-to, whether it be getting organised, I'd love to know where you would like to have some help with. Okay, I need to go off and cook dinner. It's 6 o'clock, and I hope you're having a good evening, and I will be back next week. Bye for now.